Top of the day to you all, and welcome to Unit 2 of Module 7. The other time we talked about the Unit 1, which dealt with research proposal. If you can still recollect, the elements of a research proposal are the title, Chapter 1, Chapter 2, Chapter 3, and the references. You agree with me that after you must have done with your research proposal, you must have gone far, 60% in writing your thesis. The remaining ones will be chapter 4 and 5. That is, you go to the field, you analyze your results, and you report. And that is why today we are talking about research report. When you say research report, that is the complete work of your thesis. Complete work of your thesis. Now, what are those things? What are the elements that should be included in a research report? Don't forget, I told you that your research report is the complete work of your thesis. As usual, your research report, you have your title. The next one after your title is your abstract. And what is an abstract? It's the summary of your work. When anybody takes your thesis and reads the abstract, such a person should be able to have the idea of what you have done. So that's the meaning of abstract. So you don't write the abstract before completing your work. So after the title, you go to the abstract. After abstract, you go to the table of contents. The table of contents tells your reader the pages where the reader can find the relevant things you have done on your work. The other one that follows the contents page is the certification page. When you say certification page, the page where your supervisor will certify that of a truth you carried out the research study under his supervision, and he will append his or her signature. The page that follows that is the acknowledgement page. You need to acknowledge different types of people. You need to acknowledge the authors whom you made use of their materials. Some of them may not appear in your references, but you have to acknowledge some of them. Maybe you downloaded this thing online. You need to acknowledge them so that your work doesn't look like a plagiarized work. You acknowledge your supervisor, you acknowledge your colleagues who assisted you one way or the other, or any other people that rendered assistance while you are carrying out your study. Then after acknowledgement page, you now go to, like I said the other time, your chapter 1. You've already done that, you have to include it. Chapter 2, you've done it. In your research proposal level, you have to include it. But this time around, at the proposal level, you give the skeletal impression on how you are going to carry out your research literature review. But under the research report, you have to give the comprehensive your comprehensive review, theoretically and empirically. So your review have to be full under the research report. Then after chapter 2, you go to chapter 3. In your chapter 3, you use future tense, will be, will use, will do's. But under the report, you have to use past tense. Then you now go to your chapter 4. Your chapter 4 is your result of the analysis of your data. It tells us what you found using tables, bar charts, and whatever types of diagram to corroborate your findings. So that is your chapter 4. Then your chapter 5 now, there you have what is called summary, conclusion, and recommendations. summary, conclusion, and recommendation. They are all included in chapter 5. You discuss what you found in chapter 4. You discuss it in chapter 5. Then you go ahead to give us the summary, conclusion, and recommendations. Then after that, your chapter 5, you go to what? References. You have already done that in your research proposal, but it has to be more comprehensive while you are submitting while you are writing your report. Then appendices. Under this page, you include your research instrument here. The instrument you use to collect data, you have to include them there. In some schools, the table and what have you also are included in the appendices instead of within the body of the work. But it all depends on the school. But here, in our Taskeo U degree program, you have to include your diagram, everything in the body of your work. But the research instrument, that one can come under appendices. Ladies and gentlemen, with this, we've come to the end of Module 7 of our course, Edu 314, Research, Methods and Statistics. And this brings to an end the theoretical aspect of the course. It remains Module 8, 9, and 10. And these Module 8, 9, and 10, they deal with calculation, that is analysis. How do you go about analysis of the data that you will collect? Are you going to make use of t-test? Are you going to make use of chi-square? But because you can say you want to make use of t-test, chi-square, you must have the fundamental knowledge of elementary statistics. And that is why in our lesson, we'll start from introductory statistics. That is, how will you find mean, median, mode, standard deviation, and what have you, before you can now go to inferential statistics. Until then, do have a great day.